Welcome to the incursion zone of the robot overlords. I am, as always, Tyson, otherwise known as Tybot 3000. I hope you are ready to welcome your new robot overlords because today we are going to get into some Kerbal Space Kerbal Space Program. It's going to be modded and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit different. And speaking of doing something a bit different, I'm doing a little bit something new here. I'm going to be recording the stream for YouTube, so anyone can view the channel at their leisure if they cannot join us live. That will, of course, be free. There's not going to be any sort of subscription or paywall or any foolishness like that to be able to see the channel. So, without rambling too long, let's get into the game. Let me turn this on. So, because I'm also going to be streaming this to YouTube, you might hear me put in some convenient breaks to be able to chop it up into something resembling episodic content for YouTube. So, those on the stream, you might hear me, uh, give a quick outro and intro if I remember, um, just to be able to chop that up into a nice, easy segment for YouTube. And those of you on YouTube may hear me engage the live stream. Uh, I'm not talking into the dark. There are actual people here that will be answering or asking me questions, and I'll be doing my best to answer, and maybe just having some general silliness, fun, what have you. So let's get out of that. Let's turn the music back on. Put on low, but you gotta have something, some music. A little bit sweat choir in that. Let's try something like that. Okay. So we are going to create this career right now. As soon as I move a couple windows around, make sure everything is nice and organized. Let's see. Start game. So this is modded, and I will be going down the list of various mods that I have as I go along. Some of the bigger ones coming from Umbra Space Technologies, which is going to add new station facilities for orbital stations, new drilling equipment, and base modules for actual planetary bases. So that will come in handy. Also, TAC Life Support. So we will have to think a little bit about planning ahead, emergency situations, because they only have so much food and oxygen, and we don't want them to die. Um, my goal is we're going to be leaning heavily on Bill, Bob, and especially Jeb early on, but I do not want any of them to die. That being said, I also do not want to squash exploration, some risk taking. So, that being said, I bought 3,000. And maybe someday I'll let you know where exactly Tybot came from. But for flag, I have always been partial to... Where is... the retro, the mission patch flag. I always liked that one myself. And at some point, maybe we'll get our own custom flag in here. But for right now, let's just go with... let's go with that one, because I like it. Difficulty options. First off, we're going to set this off, start it with moderate. We're going to do moderate because I don't want mission crews to respawn. If we decide that Kerbal's dead, they're going to be dead. Which gives some gravity into our decision making. But we're going to leave reverting and quick loading on because I'm not a masochist, not just yet. And we are going to be dealing with a number of mods and with varying familiarity. So I will be learning right along with you guys with a few of these things. So mistakes might be made, and I don't want a revolving door of dead Kerbals coming in through. So if something goes really, really wrong, or if we just want to test something out, I want to have the ability to revert. But because missing crews don't respond, there is going to be a point of no return. And if that happens, if something goes wrong and we are not able to revert anymore, or we judge it that it was a honest mission mistake and not something that we should revert, then that's going to be permanent. What else are we going to do? We are starting funds. We're going to leave all this. Oh, the other thing about moderate is when you research, like moderate and hard are very similar besides the quick loading and reverting flights. The rest are just sliders. Going from normal to moderate, when you research an item in here, that does not mean that you have it unlocked. You still have to purchase the item. So every item has a research cost, and it's also going to have a prototype cost. So just because we unlocked it in the research tree does not mean that we can start slapping it into whatever. So there's a little bit of strategery going on there. So we're going to leave everything. The general options, we're going to leave that. Starting funds, starting science, starting reputation, 0, 0, 0, 15. Yeah, we're going to keep that. We are going to make a couple of adjustments to the slider here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take funds rewarded, and we're going to bump that up to 110. We're going from 90% to 110. Actually, we're going to do 120. That's what we're going to do. So, why are we bumping up our funds rewarded? Oh, we've got some expensive toys that we're going to have to play for, and we've got all the parts, but that's nothing new. So why give ourselves the extra advantage? We even have one of the mods, as I'll go down the list, is stage recovery. So we'll be able to recover, if designed properly, some of our spent stages that re-enter the atmosphere. That's also going to give us a bonus. So that, on top of the extra 30% of funds I just gave us, is going to give us a little bit of boost when it comes to funds. And besides having expensive projects we're going to have, why give us that advantage? I will tell you why we're going to give us that advantage, because watch this. Bam! Did you see that? That just happened. We are setting our science reward down to 50%. This is going to be a grind. We're going to have to work. So, in a normal game, normal career mode, there are some tricks that you can do with the administrative building and some creative flying around minimus. You can do it so that with a couple of moon landings and then going to Minmus and farming every biome, you can basically have your entire tech tree unlocked before you even leave the Kerbin system. And that seems a little easy for me. And we are going to have station science, so that's going to help alleviate it. But you can't say, like, well, I'm going to limit myself to a couple of lunar landings. I'm not going to farm Minmus. But that's that's saying that, well, I'm going to make the game better by not playing parts of the game. That doesn't sit right to me. So instead of doing that, I'm setting the science rewards down to 50%, so that those tricks that would previously get you all your research rewards very quickly are now necessary. So we're going to have to do that, and that's not going to finish the job. We are going to have to find science elsewhere as well to completely finish it. And it also means we're going to have to do more with some of the lesser technology groups. So that's what we're doing there. I have not tested this. This may fail utterly. We're going to find out. But I feel good about this. So, fund rewards, 120%. Science rewards down to 50%, which means the first few tech options are going to be difficult to unlock. So let's go ahead and get this puppy started. I do have to move some of the buttons around. Hello, Gene Kerbin. Thanks, I've got it. Resource, yes, we're going to leave the TAC Life Support system settings as standard. Going to, you know, we don't need all that much in this screen. Move that back up. And lock. So, we've basically got an office building, a couple of annexes, and a big old pile of dirt. So, let's get started. We'll go into this tiny mission control building. Launch vessel. Yeah, we'll just get these right away. Oh, no, we can't. Aha! So, if you are less familiar with KSP 9.0, the first version of the new beta, all of your buildings are upgradable, which means at the very beginning they are not going to be as fanciful and as robust as you would see in other games. So, first stage of the mission control building will only give you a maximum of 2 contracts at a time. So that's going to make things harder to farm starting off. Okay. So let's see. We need 5 to research this first thing. So let's get started. We are going to try to grind the first few levels as fast as possible, because no one wants to see that doesn't look quite right. Oh, so let's see. While we're starting off here and getting the real base level science, let me go down the list real quick of the mods I have, and I'll have this on a list on my channel information before too long. To go down the list real quickly, we have Chatterer, which just adds some ambient chatter between the ship and mission control. It's just it's good for ambience. Collision effects. That is just another that's another mod that's going to add to the look and feel. That just makes it that when you crash or you're scraping against the pavement, it's going to send sparks and sound effects and make our failures much more spectacular. Environmental visual enhancements. So we've got a upgraded atmosphere and planet model. Hull cam, which is going to add some external cameras. Image viewer and notepad, and that's just for basic note taking. Kerbal Engineer, do not leave home without it. I'm going to set that to atmospheric and then compact for right now. So they give you those cans right to start off. We're not going to use those quite yet. Actually, we're not even going to put anything on here for right yet. We are going to launch just like that. XX. So this you might recognize as nav HUD. Not very useful on the ground, but could come in handy later, especially when you're dealing with aligning maneuver nodes and docking. Oh, let's see. Navball. We don't need that. Show notepad, plan shine sighting, ScanSat. ScanSat is another mod that will integrate with the Umbra Space Industries mods that allow you to send satellites up and they'll scan the planet below, reveal resources, reveal biomes, different information sets depending on exactly what you're scanning for or what you can scan for. Those are good for right now. You can go up here. And where is my engineer, Kerbal Engineer? Well, we might have to. Maybe that's an updated version. Well, first things first. Let's get a crew report. Get a quick .08 science. Get out. Let go. Take a sample. You can take a surface sample. Why can't you take a surface sample? Oh, is that something we can't do yet? Maybe that's something we can't do yet. Oop. Get in there. Alright, so we'll just recover that, get our quick, easy, easy research. Crew 1 XP gained. Good job, Jeb. Maybe engineer didn't show because there was no actual physics attached to it. Okay, so let's... oh, we don't even get decouplers here. So, here's what we're going to do. We have no decouplers, so we're just going to have to come down on our engine. Solid fuel engines, their fuel is expensive, but the engine itself is cheap. So if we come down and destroy this thing, not going to be a big deal. Where is our... there we go. So this should get us pretty high up in the air. We're not going to have a whole lot of control. Let's stage this so that we don't pop the chute as soon as we lift off. That would be embarrassing. And I don't think there's anything else here that we need. Because we're just trying to get this thing launched initially. So let's do that. We're not even going to save this. Or we're going to save this. It's nothing. We're strapping ourselves into a big old chemical rocket. Oh, and by big old, I mean tiny. SAS on. F5 for safety. That one's for UDOS. And I still don't have Kerbal Engineer. Why do I not have Kerbal Engineer right now? That's a little bit distressing. We might have to look into that here in a second. But we're not going to need it for this because we have really no staging. So 3, 2, 1, launch. There we go. There is one contract in. Clouds. Altitude of 5,000. Let's quickly get some science. 1.8. So that should be just enough to get us our first level of research. And now we come down. So while we're waiting to come back down, let's see. Kerbal alarm clock. Also, don't leave home without that. Kerbal engineer, which should be working right now, is seemingly not. So we'll have to try to figure that out. Kerbquake. Oh, this is a new one I haven't tried yet. Supposedly. Is it working? We might be going a little slow. So that's supposed to do, as you're re-entering, if you're looking in IVA, it's supposed to shake the craft to give it a little bit more, immersion that way. Let's see, K+, that's another USI mod, MKS, USI, that's going to give us some additional resources that you can mine, set up stations, a bunch of fun stuff like that. We're going to be probably leaning on that pretty heavily as we go. Nav ball docking alignment indicator, that's going to help us line up with our docking ports. Nav HUD, which is this little butte. If you haven't seen this before, not very well served coming straight up and down on a low altitude, but so let's pop the chute now. Hopefully we're not going to come down on any of our buildings. It doesn't look like it's going to. Because if we destroy one of these things now, we're pretty much done. We're starting over. That's a rage quit. Let's see. Notes. So we've gone through that. Planet Shine, that's another visual one that's going to make it so that if we are over a planet on the day side, the side facing the planet is going to get some reflective light, and it's just going to make it look better. Let's see, we're going to get down to 8 meters a second, which is a little bit faster than ideal. We want that below 7, but we have no decouplers, so we're stuck with here. Precise node. That is going to help set up our maneuver nodes to a more exacting specification. Well, we'll get to see that a little bit later. ScanSat mentioned, stage recovery mentioned, that's going to mean any of our sped stages. If you put the appropriate amount of chutes and it calculates that it would have landed softly enough to be able to recover, it is going to give you a partial refund for those. Station science, that's going to let us use our stations to conduct certain science experiments and get bonuses that way. Let's see how we come down here. Yeah, it's pretty much as expected. Let's see. We might as well just have him do I don't think this is actually going to give him anything at this point. Go. Can we take a sample? No. EVA report. Yeah. We need every bit of science we can get. TAC Life Support. That's going to add, food, oxygen, and water as resources that will be spent as you are in space or flying around or anywhere really. That means that we will have to set up some resupply missions. Once we get up higher in the tech tree, we're going to build some specialized resupply ships. And that will also, and that combined with some of the MKS, the USI Umber Space Industries mods, will even let you set up with enough infrastructure things that allow you to replenish oxygen and water and food in orbit or on different planets. So it'll be good to have that kind of complexity. So we've got 9 science now, so that's well enough. No XP gain, of course not. I should probably swap you out with Bill or Bob. So that'll give us our first stack decoupler. So up next we have general rocketry, aerodynamics, or stability. And here's our first introduction to life support. You've got a bunch of different canisters. The general life support system has a equal amount of all, or at least enough resources so that they would run out at the same time. Rail parachutes, will want that for stage recovery, definitely. But we also want the T-45 because that has gimbling. And currently we have nothing that has gimbling. So I think that has to come first for our next target. That's going to need 20. One thing that's going to help us get some more science is to activate outsource R&D, which means as you do missions, it's going to take a portion of your income and convert it directly into science. I have found that just 10% conversion can make some of the very lucrative missions be great gains for science for you. But right now, we can't activate it because it would take up almost all of our funds. So we gotta wait a little bit on that. We need to build up some money. So before we do anything else, let's grab these two, orbit. And that will give us our next level once we complete those two. Come to the chat. I don't want that. Scrap that. We are going to try to send up something that, if it doesn't get into orbit. Okay, so like I said before, we need to do an initial purchase cost, a prototype cost, before we can unlock certain parts. So this is going to cost 1,200 to unlock. Obviously, we're going to need that. So we're going to pay for that. And now the cost is down to 400. I think the prototype cost is typically 3 times the part cost. It could be different. I'm not sure. Fuel tank. Yeah, we're going to want that. That's actually a lot of thrust to weight. And before I start messing around with that, let's see, mystery goo. Yes, we definitely want all the science we can get. Let's add on a couple like that, and that one parachute should be able to handle that much. Stage. Okay, so that should be enough, well enough to get us into orbit. Let's see if we can't save this. So, if you haven't used stage recovery yet, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit this button here. It's going to send us a mail with a rough idea of how much we would get back if everything went well. It says that on average this is going to dip. This is going to 29% recovered is not good, because that number there, 11.1 meters a second descent, we're going to want that down to less than 7. But we don't have the radial chutes yet. So here's what we can do. So all 5 of these chutes will pop up as soon as we ditch that that stage, and we'll do the same thing for that stage. It's a little clunky right now, but once we unlock some things, that's life support. That's not what we want. We want this. Oh, shoot. This is heavier and more part happy than we can currently launch. That does get it back down to a better amount, but that's we got one too many parts, and we have way not enough. It's too heavy. So what are we going to do about this? I just realized one of the other mods that we should have that is currently not in, so I'll have to fix that, is fuel rebalancer. Good speed, I believe it is. Fuel rebalancer. That might come in handy in a place like this. So let's see what happens. It's going to... So that should still be enough to get into space. That might be barely enough to get into a very low orbit, but we're still too heavy. Still too heavy. We don't have fuel lines. Let's try this. I'm going to empty this tank. Fuel and oxidizer. So that's going to be basically just a structural tank. That might get the job done, but we're still too heavy. Is it these? No. New idea. Let's try to make this single stage. We're gonna make this a little goofy looking. We're gonna add getting there. Okay, that would probably get us in the orbit, maybe, sort of, but it's still too heavy. I don't think we're going to get this in the orbit in one shot. What's this say for state of recovery? That's like perfect, which means how much do these goo canisters cost? Next to nothing. But that next to nothing might be enough. Happens if I only do one of these, besides unbalancing the thing. Eesh. Alright. Maybe we can save a little bit of weight doing this. If it's only going to be structural, then we don't need the entire tank. Let's get something smaller. Now what do we got? 17.9. And that will get us near complete recovery. The only thing is that this thing is going to unbalance it a little bit. So, no, let's not do that. It's going to unbalance it a little bit. Let's get that centered. Why not have it on this side, which I believe should be east, and that might just unbalance us into a nice, gentle gravity turn? Maybe? Should the title be 9.0? Did this not update? Hold on. Oh. Yes, it should be 9.0 Azard, sorry. I updated the title, and it didn't actually take because I have to specify a language. English. Update. Okay. There we go. Fixes. Use solid boosters. They're lighter, empty, and can save on parachutes. All the masses are... No, it's alright. I welcome you to chat. So let's try it that way. Yeah, sorry if I was going dark a little bit like that. I was just trying to figure this out. So let's what What will the weight be like? We just have that. What's that? 6.9. Okay. So that even puts us a little over. So all solid. This will be hella difficult to control, but that's enough to get us in space. Ooh. Ooh. So you were right. Doing the solids does save on mass. That's not exactly a lot of fine control, though. We'll, let's try this. Have a little bit of mass to play around with. Is this music, too loud for you? Let me know in chat if it is. That is still well under. Just over. Let's see. Hello, Bio. Nice to see you again. And actually debate whether it's worth even putting parachutes on the solid boosters, because I don't believe you get much back for them. But not exactly going to hurt. So this is not quite enough to get us into space. What happens? That might work. This might work. Maybe. The only thing I'm really worried about is that it could be an uncontrollable mess. But hey, let's try it out. Let's see. Yeah. Close enough for government work, right? Are those going to overheat? Let's find out. Okay, SAS on, and that's going to be really important because that's basically going to be the only thing keeping us pointed up. So grab some science right on the pad there, because we're going to need every little bit we can with the research debuff I gave myself at the career start. Still no engineer. After this launch, I might have to reload engineer in there, maybe put the fuel rebalancer in real quick. Throttle up, that's not going to do anything because we've got solid engines, but what the hell. 3, 2, 1, launch. This is what you call in the business too much fuel thrust to weight. I'm going to take the volume down just a little bit. One thing I wish they had is a master volume slider. Azard, I currently do not know how to give you permission to do that. To be perfectly frank. Oh, let me get back in here. Let's, oh, because I'm rotated, let's go down instead of right. There we go. Did I even do that right? I'm not looking at where I'm going. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Well, see, I paid too much attention to chat, and now our Apo is way out there. Oh, right, we don't have maneuver nodes quite yet. Let's do that. Put that up there. See, I didn't even think I had anything, first of all, before I lose too much, how much... Oh, I have no idea what the time is to Apo, because... Oh! Sure I do. I can use that. I'm not even sure what I have on here that's actually deleting links. A second. Still have a little ways to go. Hold on, we'll get this figured out. Sorry, trying to go back and forth, making sure I don't... I guess it doesn't really matter if we don't have enough delta V to get this thing into orbit with the Apo like that. But we did recover our stage. That's good. And we did exactly it. We did escape the atmosphere. So instead of dividing my attention in two places, I'm going to burn retro. Because we're not going to get in the orbit, so we might as well land as close as possible to KSP with what little fuel we have left. Okay, perfect. Sort of. Observe goo. Tasty science. Crew report. A little bit more. Aha! Cannot disembark because we have not upgraded our astronaut complex yet. So no EVA. Let's just go ahead and ditch that. Alright. I'm going to trust you, Azard. Or Azard. I don't know how you pronounce that, but... let's give that a shot. Yeah, not exactly sure why it's not allowing links, because that is not something that I set. Let's get this thing landed. Let's do that. Get this figured out. Yeah, it takes a sec, but it's not even sending a command, it's just sending it right to chat. I thought Nightbot was what would possibly be the thing that would disable it in the first place. But I don't have Nightbot in here. Trying to fix this as we glide. Oh, right. What's that altitude? 28. Well, it's not actually going to hurt anything in the game to pop the chute. I don't like popping the parachute too high, even though there's really not a lot of reason why you can't in the current re-entry physics. Now it's good. All of them. Is there let's see. Did I sign up on Nightbot like a long time ago and I just forgot? I have TeamSpeak and I am on Skype. First, let me try this. Because if Nightbot was on, we would have it show up in the viewer list, would it not? In Azard, I just sent you a message there. Oh, and you sent it back as mentioned. Oh, hey, look at that. Now it works. Or something like that. Can you actually get enough thrust to weight with that many tanks and one engine? Yeah, now you can link it. It's a mystery to me too, dude. That's something I'll just have to do, figure out offline. But for right now, recover vessel easily. Oh, I didn't even think that much fuel on one engine would actually work. "13 science, that's all good. No XP gain, because apparently you need to make orbit before you get anything more.